Hello everybody, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today I would like to talk about pocket fixed blades. If this is a topic that you like or dislike, go ahead and stick around. But before we do get into it, I want to say that for the month of October this year, of course, 2025, all you have to do to win this knife is go and subscribe to be a paid Patreon member. The account is public, yes, and you can sign up, yes, but you still have to pay for it to be entered in to win. There is a $5 as well as a $10 tier. Because I'm just starting out, I'm doing budget knives. This right here is a Trevisa Knives Array. This knife could be bought brand new on Amazon, and it ranges between 50 and 60 bucks. I bought it, did my thing, sharpened it, used it, didn't abuse it by any means, so it's not a brand new knife. But I have no reason to keep it in the collection and I want to give it away. So if you want to win this knife, you put in for the $5 or the $10 tier because you want to utilize any sort of services I have to offer that would benefit you and your collection. You would be automatically entered in to win this knife essentially for free if you are a paid member. So yeah, the Trevisa Knives Array, full blacked out with PVD coated 14C28N. Of course, it has been sharpened, very lightly used, completely ambidextrous. You can flip the clip, very, very roomy, welcoming clip there on that side. Nice, thick G10 steel liner construction, full enclosed back. This is honestly a little tank of a knife. Short blade, snap this thing has. Oh, huh. It sounds so good. Let's get into it. Pocket fixed blade. Now, I'm not buying it. It's not something I really care for. I love folding knives. At least that's where I'm at right now. And a lot of my stance on overpriced pocket fixed blades has to do with where I live, the kind of jobs I've had. I've worked in retail, grocery, warehouse, but nowhere that's like private. And even in the medical field as well. I'm currently working in the medical field and I am often around a lot of unstable individuals. The last thing I need is for a not so bright individual to see that I have what is will almost always be known to be as a weapon, easily accessible off my person. I don't want to run into that situation, especially if I'm working in the public and, that is a high probability that could happen in a lot of different working environments, especially when you're in the public. So yeah, fixed blades just aren't really my thing. I think the idea is cool, but it's kind of been blown up to be this really big trend when I don't really think there's a whole lot, worth it for me. I don't know how many people out there actually that buy a lot of pocket fixed blades that actually use them and prefer them to really sturdy, well-built folding knives. This little piece right here is actually a prototype gifted to me by my friend Steven Dunnick. He is the designer. This is produced by Concept Knives, and this is a very early one of maybe a couple out there. But this is a Loki fixed blade. The hole wasn't supposed to be there. This was a miscommunication, most likely due to a language barrier, which is, I'm sure you can understand that. But I have the original Loki here to go side by side to show you these guys. The fixed blade is just a smidge shorter, but somehow just as comfortable in a hand. And I have large to extra large size hands, but slim fingers, so I don't typically run into any sort of ergonomic restraint issues. I also have a prototype that he also gifted me, and this is the XL Loki. Holy shit, I love this thing so much. Quite a bit of a difference between the original and the XL. The XL is truly XL in comparison, quite of a difference. And I think a lot of people would really, really love this knife. But I genuinely don't think that a pocket fixed blade can compare to a regular folding knife in most general circumstances. Now, one could say, well, what if you need to baton something? I'm not going to be batoning with something like this. And a lot of pocket fixed blades are like 3 inches and under because they're supposed to be small and compact. So there's pocket fixed blade, and then there's just like regular fixed blades, things that are externally exposed via a sheath or a kydex or attached to your person or your pack or your outer gear, whatever. But trying to be discreet in public about having, as I mentioned, will always be viewed by the general public as a weapon. It's not super easy to kind of be discreet about it. Now I've had, knives on like the small of my back or on my hip or on my belt or something like that, and it's always exposed. And even having it in the pocket, I wonder like how am I going to absentmindedly take a bladed object out of my pocket so close to my person and then resheath it, whether it's in like a super high quality fancy like leather sheath with stitching. Like the last thing I need is to like, and with the edges that I put on my knives, I'm cutting right through that stitching and that leather. With the kydex, I'm gonna scrape the crap out of it and probably just eat up my edge accidentally. These aren't, viable options for somebody like me in particular. I like knowing that I could take a knife, and I'll stand up here to kind of demonstrate, get this chair out the way. You can see all my junk and bullshit over here. But so I got my shirt tucked in, just for example, but like, I'm a regular built dude. I'm not super overweight. I'm not like shredded abs or nothing, but it's relatively flat all around here, right? I'm a normal sized dude. Closed bladed object going in the pocket, right? And having a jacket that kind of comes down at a regular, size. I go and take it, cut, close, put it away. I lift up and kind of guide in with the finger and drop it, right? Now, with this, and I'm not going to demonstrate all of that because I don't have a sheath for this, but I would essentially do this and index it and get it into my pocket, right? But the issue is that I don't always have my shirt tucked in, and most of the time I don't actually. I have my shirt completely undone and out. So what I noticed one time a couple years ago, I bought a fixed blade from Kaiser. It was the Harpoon. I think it was called the Harpoon. I don't even remember exactly what it was called, but it was probably like the mini Harpoon from Kaiser. It was a little fixed blade. It was meant to carry in multiple different ways, but mainly externally. And so I had it somewhere here, and I think I went right through my freaking shirt, and I just had this huge hole in my shirt, and I was like, damn it. Like, how many people actually run into that sort of issue? Or like if it's on the small of your back and you have a jacket, you have to like lift up your jacket and like deal with all this, there's a lot of material back there that you gotta like get up and out of the way to get what would be a sharp bladed object back in its place. And then when it comes down to actually sitting down or rubbing up against something, it's knocking against things. It's kind of just like clanking around. And then a fear of mine as well, besides some tweaker ass individual taking it off my person, is losing it. Like leather sheaths, yeah, they are, pretty substantial in the amount of attention that they can apply onto a blade, especially if it's like in like pretty deep and you just have this little bit hanging out. That's why I've seen a lot of people that actually do carry small pocket fixed blades. They'll have like this tiny little like lanyard fob, not like this huge like stupid looking lanyard, but just like a little fob, just to add an extra little sort of point of contact for your hands to kind of like orientate where and like what to get. So if you had like this little fob here, you would like get with your ring finger, your middle finger, and you'd pull out and then kind of readjust, climb up, and then you'd be in the full grip position. That's what I've seen a lot of people that actually carry these knives, how they kind of like go about using it. it's just not something that I'm willing to adapt to at this point in time. If I worked in a more private situation where I wasn't in the public or around people that I don't really trust, if I was just kind of working on my own, doing my own thing, I probably wouldn't mind. But if I was like a laborer or a skilled handyman or blue collar individual, then yeah, maybe, like a lot of these people do work out in the public, but some of them are kind of contractors and like out and about on their own or with a very small team of somewhat trusted individuals, and they kind of figure like, hey, oh yeah, that's that guy. Like he has multiple knives on him. He has, he has his little folder, but he also has his little fixed blade if he doesn't want to like really screw up the edge on his folder. And what I've seen a lot of people do is they'll have like a super slicey, super precision edge on their folder, and then a much more heavier duty edge on their fixed blade, because the fixed blade is, I guess, in some people's eyes, used for more like harder use tasks, more inappropriate tasks, I suppose. And I like the idea of dual carrying or having multiple, knives or edges on my person for utility, of course, not so much for self-defense, because that's not really something I care to promote on the channel. But yeah, I want to know from you guys, like, do you guys often buy like pocket fixed blades or fixed blades often, and do you actually use them? What kind of issues have you ran into? How many shirts have you ruined? How many jeans have you messed up? I want to know, am I catastrophizing? Potentially. Or are some of these points valid? I mean, maybe you're on the same page as myself, where you like the idea, you want to spend money on some new fad, some new trend, and you're just kind of thinking like, what can happen? And those are the things to think about. How often are you going to use it? Is it fun and fidgety? No, not really. Is it cool adding an extra complication to your loadout gear for the day, whatever? Matchy with your keys, your wallet, your boots, your jacket, just that kind of individual. But talking strictly about the carry of small fixed blades, and even then, the pricing of a lot of these fixed blades coming from China, I don't know why, but these knives are such simply made and much more easily constructed, yet they cost just as much or more than a lot of their fixed blade counterparts if they were modeled after a folder to begin with. I don't know. It's just a thought. I don't want to know from the community, what do people think about this particular thing. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and leave a like down below. If you are subscribed, thank you so much. I appreciate all your support and your patience, of course. If you are not subscribed, please consider subscribing, because I have plenty more videos and content coming your guys' way. With that being said, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.